This episode brought to you by these awesome patrons and members. The ReActive Micro power supply just got a whole lot more interesting. Warm up the CRT, it's time for another episode. Today we're reviewing the ReActive Micro Universal Power Supply Kit for the Apple II series. It's a kit designed to replace your entire power supply, guts, enclosure, and all. Let's check it out. The main guts of the unit are the same as the Ultimate Power Supply Kit for refurbishing existing power supplies, so it has the same quality and reliability you expect. But the big change here is the PCB-based enclosure, which is much easier for ReActive Micro to source in stock. And because of the super flexible PCB-based design, extra features were a cinch for them to add. The features you get depend on the kit level you select. Technically speaking, there are 32 different combinations to choose from the basic kit starting at $85, up to the full bells and whistles option for the Apple IIe at $200. You can also choose to have ReActive Micro assemble it for you for about $15, but what's the fun in that? The kit comes with everything you need to build the option you selected. I'm building the 2GS version here with fan and meters. ReActive Micro also sends you solder, flux, and an anti-static wrist strap, so it's an all supplies included project. All you need is a soldering iron and basic tools. If you want to see Chris Torrance of the Assembly Lines podcast build the Apple II Plus version of the power supply, check out his video in the card and in the description. But enough gabbing. Let's put it together. Of course, you can't build it without instructions. Fortunately, ReActive Micro has done a great job of providing full details on their wiki, so you'll want to read through those before proceeding. First, we need to mount the brass headers for the power supply. Thread the power supply mount screws from the bottom side. Then, thread the brass headers into place on the top side. Solder each of the headers into place. And when done, remove the screws and set them to the side. Now it's time to construct the enclosure. The sides lock together like puzzle pieces. I found it easiest to assemble the enclosure and hold it together with blue painter's tape. You can use rubber bands or whatever is convenient for you. When I was done, I had a fully formed and tightly bound box ready for soldering. You'll want to solder each panel to the one it's touching in a couple of places along each edge. You don't have to go crazy with it, but you could solder the entire seam if you like. Pay special attention to the ends and to the corners. These are where separations can occur. When I was done, I removed the tape and I had a finished enclosure. Now, pop in the power switch from the outside with the one on top. Then affix the power socket from the inside using the included nuts and bolts. Next, install the main supply leads between the switch and the power socket. The brown jumper goes from L for live to the switch, then the brown free lead comes off the switch. Blue goes on N for neutral, and green goes on E for earth. Once that's done, you can install the power supply unit. It's pretty easy, just pop it on the brass headers and thread in the screws. Be sure that the orange connector faces the power switch. Then you insert the main supply leads into the orange connector as indicated on the label. It's time to install the meters. Start by removing the big meter from its housing. Pop the housing into the power supply from the outside, then reinstall the meter from the inside. After that, install the 3 small meters and affix them with the supplied screws. Now we're on to the tricky bit. You need to get the small meters connected to the gray output header. I suggest figuring out which leads go where, twisting together any leads that go together in the same spot, and tinning all the leads with solder. This makes the process much easier. Just follow the instructions on the wiki to know which wires go in which spot. Now, snip off the black wire on the small lead for the big meter. Connect the lead to the meter, strip the red and yellow leads, twist them together, Then insert them into the gray connector. Now you need to wire up the main power supply harness, which includes wiring the large meter in line so that it can measure current. You do this by snipping the black and white wires about 2 inches down, then strip them, twist them together, and solder them together. Add the ones on the power supply end to one Wago connector, along with the black lead of the large meter plug. Then do the same for the black and white wires on the computer side and the red lead of the meter plug. Now you can plug in the power supply lead and the large meter plug. The next step is to install the fan. It's really simple. Remove the plug, remove the yellow wire, then strip the red and black wires. Install the wires in the gray connector as stated in the instructions. Then install the fan on the top, ensuring the label faces up, and tuck the power lead beside the power supply. That's it! It's all assembled. Now all that's left is to install it into your Apple II GS, and flip the switch. Final thoughts? Well, like always, ReActive Micro knocks it out of the park with this excellent replacement for your Apple II power supply. I think the optional features are a great addition for those who want them, and the fact that you can add power meters to your system without the need to modify your original power supply chassis is a plus. The fan is my favorite feature, and I give extra props to ReActive Micro for including a super silent and very reliable knock-to-a fan with the kit. If you're ready to pick up one of these awesome power supplies, check the description for links to the ReActive Micro store. For those of you waiting and hoping for another run of the R&D Automation CFFA3000 card for your Apple II, you may not have to wait much longer, because ReActive Micro is now making them. As you can see, ReActive Micro's version is a one-to-one replica, so it has all the features and functionality of the original. Sadly, it doesn't have WAS support yet, but I expect now that they are back in production, that may become a possibility. We can hope, of course. Cards are entering production now and should be available in a couple weeks after this video. Keep your eye on the ReActive Micro store for updates. Well, it looks like ReActive Micro has a couple of really cool products on the way, and you know me, I love anything that supports these old computers and keeps them working and makes them work better. If you have a chance, make sure you go check out Chris Torrance's video on this same subject. He catches a lot of little points that I missed during my review. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Remember to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to stay up to date on my latest adventures. You can also support the museum by becoming a patron or by snagging some merch over at jcm-1.com. Links in the description. Well, that's all for today's episode. While you're here, check out some of my other videos, and remember, 8 bits are all you need.